are the girls fighting?
Y'all, before we even get to the video, can I just I'm gonna do a few little housekeeping things, okay? So, first of all, thank you guys for over 2,700 subscribers. That is really exciting. We are on the way to 3K. My goal was 3K by the end of January. That's cutting it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. I'm not gonna put anything out in the universe. And my goal for the year is 10K, which I know that is but we're gonna see. I didn't think I would be monetized by the end of 2020. I didn't think I would have 2 subscribers by the end of 2020, okay? So anything is possible. Second, I want to say that I am currently wearing my own fucking merch, you guys. Let me show you guys this. This is really cool. Where doth thee receiveth thy protein from? Thy mom. And then it says go vegan at the bottom right there. Maybe that's only funny to 2 people on the entire planet because, but it's sort of a joke because vegans always get asked oh, what about protein, and I just thought it would be funny to do a Renaissance version of that. I don't know why. But if you guys are interested if you guys are vegan and you like punny shirts, definitely check out my shop. Let's talk about what today's video is about. So, I want this video to be chill, okay? I don't want this to be just, I'm really anxious making this video. I've been anxious all day. The world is on fire. Can we talk about that? Everything is on fire. And we're all supposed to just keep going. And I am just starting to really get tired. So, a few days ago, I made this video titled Dragging 10 Popular Vegan YouTubers. I don't even think it's been a week since I made that video, and deadass, half of the people on that list have been involved in more beef, since that video, deadass. And this video isn't to talk about all of those people. I am going to be talking about one person on that list, and that is Cheap Lazy Vegan, aka Rose. Now, in my dragging 10 YouTuber videos, I did not drag Rose. I showered her in compliments because I do believe that Rose is a really sweet person. I think that she's great for the vegan movement, and she talks a lot about intersectionality, and she does really good videos on recipes, and I just think she's good for every aspect of veganism, the activism aspect, the accessibility aspect, trying to show people that you can go vegan in cheap, fairly easy ways, just things like that. And recently there's been some drama in the vegan community, and I've actually been discussing this for a while. Basically, a lot of marginalized vegans, mostly Jewish vegans and vegans of color, and also queer vegans, have come out and said, hey, when vegans make statements such as the meat industry is a holocaust, or animals are being holocausted, or animals are enslaved, it's offensive. And I want to talk about that as well as what Rose had to say about the entire discourse surrounding this topic. Now, if you guys have seen my videos, you already know how I feel about this. I'm not particularly a fan of such language as this, for many reasons. Y'all, I'm literally so anxious. My heart rate right now, it's at a solid 87, okay? And my resting heart rate is usually between 50 and 60, so I'm just really not doing it. I'm not feeling it right now. I just want to be clear. My intentions is not to I'm not trying to shit on Rose. I like Rose. I was, however, disappointed with this video. And this video made me feel uncomfortable. And watching this video, I've been watching this video over and over again, and it's made me feel extremely anxious and uncomfortable. And I think in a way that's good, but also in a way there are some things that she said that I do want to address from my perspective as a you know, marginalized vegan as a Black vegan who maybe has a different perspective and different life experiences than Rose has had. And some of the things she said in the video, like, I have like a straight up response and answer to that I know she might be interested in hearing. I don't think she's gonna see this video. I did leave a comment on the video sort of expressing my issues with the comparisons of the words, and she did respond. I didn't respond to her response because I feel like she thought that my response was attacking her, when in reality, I was just addressing vegans in general that say that. I wasn't addressing her. Sorry, I'm just like really anxious to talk about this because I know whenever I bring up race relations, it's a thing, and people like to act like brand new, and I just don't know what to say. Like, I'm always just like, I'm sorry, like, I'm Black and this is what I go through as a Negro on this planet. Like, I just don't know what to tell you. I'm gonna read from my notes right here, so sorry if that bothers you. So Rose's main argument was that the way in which we use these words is what the real issue is. Using these words without the proper education, understanding, and conversation is what doesn't allow for the vegan message to be conveyed properly. And she also said oftentimes these words are not used effectively, and they're used without respect and without care nor consideration. I agree with that completely. Completely agree with that. Here's my take. Personally, when it comes to the slavery comparisons as a nigger, I do not get offended because slavery is not a Black specific thing. Slavery has existed for centuries surrounding numerous cultures and religions. Slavery is biblical. I don't get offended by the slavery comparison, especially because, like, when you look at the meat and dairy industry, these creatures, these creatures are brought into this planet to serve not their need. They have no freedom or bodily autonomy whatsoever. Their entire life is dedicated to serving someone else's pleasure and someone else's profit and someone else's wants. It has nothing, their wants and needs are not taken into any consideration. That is slavery, in my opinion. Rose's main point in her video was that as vegans, we shouldn't be offended by animal-human comparisons because it is speciesist to be offended by said comparisons. Okay, what's speciesism? Speciesism. So, speciesism is the idea that basically, it's basically like any other ism. Basically, it's you valuing one species over another species. That's basically it. One of the reasons why watching her video made me uncomfortable was because I realized, oh, I'm totally a speciesist. Like, like I just had to, I had to own it. I just had to accept that. And on one hand, as someone who is into political advocacy, and as someone who is anti-oppression and pro-liberation, it was really weird realizing that I have an ist or an ism within me, and I have the potential to be prejudiced against another being. On one hand, the part of me that was born in this speciesist society is completely okay with being speciesist. So, like, watching her video, I had this weird, like, computer like, total cognitive dissonance. That's literally what it was. Like, I was like, short-circuiting because I was like, well, yeah, I guess I am speciesist. And it's like, well, who cares if I'm speciesist? I kept trying to make excuses for being speciesist because I was like, well, like, one of my thoughts was, well, racism is inherently wrong because humans are one and the same. Like we're both humans. But being speciesist is okay because in a way it protects humans from, like, it protected our ancestors from harm. But on the other hand, just because something has a good, like, okay, so that's one good aspect to a form of discrimination, like, that doesn't really make sense, you know what I mean? Like, so, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I definitely hold speciesist values, and I have a speciesist view of the world, I totally do. Even when I became vegan, it wasn't because I viewed animals on the same level as humans. I still really do not. I'm sorry. I do value my life more than the life of a cow's, and I do think that a cow's life is more, it has more value than a roach's. Like, I am a speciesist. I can admit that. This is definitely something that I want to dissect further. And this is something that I want to think about further. And so watching her video with the knowledge that I am a speciesist was interesting. However, watching her video as a black person, I felt really disappointed because I felt like she sort of downplayed the harm and the emotional the emotions that, like, forget black vegans, just black people, have when you make these comparisons. And I understand Rose being, you know, the anti-oppression, pro-liberation, intersectionalist, peace-loving vegan that she is. I understand her saying you shouldn't be offended by animal comparisons as a vegan because to be offended is being speciesist. Because historically, animals have been considered lower than humans. And so historically, when black people have been, compared to monkeys and apes and other animals and just, whatever, it's been offensive because it's considered you're lower than human, right? And she's saying we should eliminate that because we should be anti-speciesist. I can agree with that sentiment that we should be anti-speciesist. But we live in a speciesist world, and those comments still hurt. I didn't know, watching her video was so weird because it was like, well, yeah, I agree, but also, I'm still hurt by these comparisons, and maybe that's because I need to dissect my speciesism, my internal speciesism, but it's just at the same time, there's historical and current, treatment of black people where we're considered lower than animals. We're not even on equal footing as animals. We're lower than animals, especially dark skins. You know what I mean? And to bring it back to the Holocaust, topic, I'm not Jewish, but yeah, I get really uncomfortable hearing that comparison. As before I was vegan, when people said it, I would be like, you are a crazy cracker, and you're crazy. And you're a crazy vegan. It was just you're crazy. When I would hear people say that. And then once I became vegan and I learned more about the meat industry and how pigs are thrown into gas chambers, I was like, oh, this is why vegans say that. At the same time, I still feel like the comparison is really anti-Semitic, and I feel like it's just offensive.
Hey y'all, it's Editing Me, and I just wanted to pop in real quick because I also wanted to say that a lot of vegans will say, oh, we're not saying it's the Holocaust. We're saying it's a Holocaust. And in my opinion, it's okay, stop trying to be smart. It's not cute. Just continue to be dumb because smart ain't working for you. It's when we hear the word Holocaust, we think of Germany, Hitler, World War II. We don't think of it in the terms that you're trying to use it. And it just feels sort of like a dig, like a cheap sort of comeback, an excuse to continue using a harmful language, in my honest opinion.
At the end of the day, and I've mentioned this before in videos and in tweets and in comments, at the end of the day, here's how I feel about it. Even if you genuinely believe that this is a Holocaust. I hate fucking saying that. I don't even, and Rose made this a point in her video, and she said, people just throw these words around without any sort of caution or care and I mentioned that earlier, but without any sort of caution or care to the words and to the communities that have the connection to these words. And that's my, that's my main issue with this, right? But even if you genuinely believe that animals are being holocausted or whatever, you're doing veganism dirty. In my opinion, marginalized people coming up to you and saying, hey, this hurts my people's feelings when you say this, and here's why. You are getting free education, okay? You're freely getting educated. It's a free TED Talk, baby. They're explaining to you the history and emotional connection to why this is offensive and why it hurts. and you just go, no, fuck you, the animals are being killed. Like personally to me that's gross, and I don't want to associate with vegans that do that. But fine, if you don't give a shit about us niggers' feelings, and if you don't give a shit about Jewish people's feelings, fine, you don't give a shit. But you clearly give a shit about the animals' feelings, right? Because you're advocating for them. And if you give a shit about those animals that you're advocating for, then you should stop saying that. Because what you're doing is you are turning away people from veganism. People see you saying shit like that and think you're fucking crazy. Like they literally think you're crazy. They think you're probably racist, and you're playing into like such a stereotype. Like it's so embarrassing. Like you're literally playing into the white vegan crazy, like out of touch, like stupid vegan. Like you're just playing you're playing up the joke. You're giving meat eaters a cringe compilation. You're giving it to them for free, like freely giving it to them. And you're also doing harm for the animals you're trying to advocate for, because people are going to, out of spite, go and eat meat, and they're not going to give a shit about anything you have to say. One of the things Rose mentioned in her video was, hey, don't you guys remember during equal marriage rights, during gay marriage rights, when gay people were comparing gay marriage to interracial marriage and civil rights? She said, like, why weren't we offended then? Oh, we were offended. Like, I remember this being a conversation. I was like 8 or 9 at the time. And this was a conversation amongst black people in black homes. The black people I knew, we were offended by these comparisons. I don't want to play into oppression Olympics, because as someone who is marginalized in numerous ways, I think I don't have the energy for it. I really don't have the energy for it. I just don't even want to get into it. But I'm just going to say this. Me as a black queer person, my blackness, especially with the complexion and tone of my blackness, my beautiful blackness, it's immediate. Before I speak, before I do or say anything, my blackness is immediately known. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. For me personally, I feel like my blackness has presented way more as a problem than my queerness. And, you know, I'm also going to recognize the privilege that I do live in California, so I'll recognize that privilege. But I've faced more racism in liberal-ass California than I have homophobia, and I grew up in church, and I've faced, like, we're not gonna get into that, this is the video. My blackness is immediate. It's so different from, like, being queer and just experiencing homophobia. Like, it's so different. And that's not the only thing. I think the main reason that I think the biggest thing that black people like feel is a lot of times social and political movements will sort of like piggyback off of like the black like liberation black movement. Like whatever we're doing, people will try to piggyback off of that. And it's very confusing. Like during Black Lives Matter, this is vegan related. I remember I wasn't vegan at the time. I wasn't even plant-based. And during the whole Black Lives Matter 2020 June, all of that, people were like, yes, hashtag Black Lives Matter, but what about the pigs? And what about the cows and the chickens? Hashtag Pig Lives Matter. And then, like, other people would share something that was happening around the world elsewhere, not in America, and people would be like, if this wasn't BLM, this would have more notes, this would be getting more attention. And I just feel like, why do people constantly feel the need to steal and drain resources from black people? Why do you have to drag black people down to lift up your movement? Why is that something you have to do? And so I wanted to like mention this because this was a point she made in her video. And as a black queer person, I wanted to bring up the fact that, yeah, I personally do get uncomfortable and offended when gay people, like, this really isn't the video, but there's racism in the queer community, okay? And there's subtext in certain things that people say and do. And I've had a lot of uncomfortable situations with regards to being a Black queer person. One thing Rose said is that the vegan community is supposed to know about speciesism, and we shouldn't be upset by comparisons of animal oppression to human oppression. Just because in a speciesist world these terms are offensive doesn't mean that in a non-speciesist world, which is a world that I'm sure some vegans and most vegans would say they're aiming for, it doesn't mean that those words should be offensive there as well. And it's like, okay, yeah, but we literally still live in a speciesist world, and those words do hurt. Like, they just do. Like, I'm sorry, they do hurt. And I feel like, in a way, it's sort of weird for someone to be like, hey, you comparing, like, people that have a history of being compared to animals, like Black people, Jewish people, like, you doing that is really hurtful, and it hurts my feelings, and I'd appreciate it if you can stop. You, like if your response to that is, well, you're being speciesist, it's like, okay, like, what do you want me to say to that? Like, maybe I am being speciesist, but can we also address that it hurts my fucking feelings? Like, that's kind of how I felt about her video. I just kind of felt like, well, damn, like, number one, I was like, oh shit, like, yeah, I am a speciesist. Like, she kind of enlightened me in that sense. But on the other hand, I just felt like, okay, Rose, let's not forget though, cunty, that Black people weren't even treated, like, Black people were seen literally as animals, and still are in many ways. There were human zoos. Black people were kept in cages and shown at exhibits. Like, here's the wonderful nigger. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like, that literally happened. Like, so it's just, I don't know. I was a little disappointed in her video, and I personally felt uncomfortable watching her video. I think one of the biggest things she said that made me go like, was, we should be able to have these discussions without calling people white supremacists. Just because someone doesn't agree with your viewpoint doesn't mean they're racist or white supremacists. When we talk about racism, I think people have such a extreme, like when you hear the word racist, you probably think KKK, Hitler, Nazis, like you think of very serious things. Racism is also someone telling me that I'm aggressive. Racism is also the random white lady that comes up to me and touches my hair while I'm waiting in line to get boba. Racism is also someone saying, you're really pretty for a Black girl. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's levels to racism. And so, you know, while these people might not be white supremacists, they're literally upholding white supremacist views. Like, white supremacists, like, use eugenics or whatever, and, like, data and science to excuse racism. And they've even made comparisons to, like historically, Nazis have made comparisons, like, to animals, to Jewish people and Black people. So it's just kind of like, okay, you might not be a white supremacist, but you're literally taking, like, a page out of their book, whatever that saying is. Like, you're literally copying and pasting white supremacist talking points for veganism. That's just weird. Like, I don't know. In conclusion, I personally get offended by comparisons. And maybe it is because I am speciesist, and maybe that is something that I have to dissect. But I also just, and Rose mentioned this herself, in a community of people that are supposed to, like, be empathetic and care about, like, beings, I just think it's odd that your response to people saying this hurts my feelings is fuck you. Like, Like, essentially. You know what I mean? I just think that that's weird. And I get your viewpoint that animals are voiceless. And I'm gonna put this really cool tweet that I saw here that sort of explains what I feel about that sort of rhetoric as well. I understand you wanting to advocate for animals, but if you want to advocate for animals, you also have to take into account the animals that you're advocating to advocate for the animals that you're advocating for. What I mean is, if you're going to be talking to humans about animals, maybe you should think about the way that you talk to humans about animals. You can't talk to humans in a way that's dehumanizing. Like, you're going to turn humans away from what you have to say. Do you see what I'm saying? And Rose mentioned this in her video. Where I mostly disagree with Rose is the general consensus that we should use these comparisons. It's just in the manner that we use them. I don't think they should be used at all. I think it's gross, point blank, period. And it turns me off from, like, you as a vegan, and it makes me cringe, and it makes me not want to be your friend. That's what it does for me personally. And for non-vegans, I know it makes them not want to be vegan. I know it does, because it did that to me. Like, so I know what they're thinking. Like, I know. I'm not here to cancel Rose. I can't cancel Rose. She's almost at 1 million subscribers, and I'm barely at 3,000, okay? So I'm not here to cancel her. This isn't to start discourse. It's literally just for me to vent. I already feel so much better and so much less, like, anxious and uncomfortable just by sort of talking out my emotions and feelings from watching this video, like, over and over and over again all day, trying to, like, dissect it and understand it. So yeah, so let me know what you guys think about speciesism, intersectionality, veganism, racism within the vegan community, blah, 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 blah. But just let me know what you guys think. If you want to dislike the video, go ahead. It helps my channel out anyways. There's just a lot going on right now in the world, you guys, and I just hope that everyone is being safe as possible. I know it just feels really crazy and unsure right now, even more so than it did at the beginning of this virus. Like, I feel more lost and confused, I feel like, now than I did back in March. Is that just me? Just like, I just feel like, what now? Like what are we doing? Like, what's going on? You know, like, I'm just like, oh my god, what is happening here? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed my personal perspective on this matter. I know this is a very nuanced conversation. I'm sure there's a lot of contradictions and things to be had here in this discussion, because at the end of the day, it's a very philosophical, moral, ethical conversation, and that literally differs from person to person. So it is what it is, it be what it be. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys have a good one. Don't forget to check out my merch, check out my Patreon if you like. Please follow me on the Twitter or the gram, because I'm cool. And yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Oh, before I go, I have a live stream coming this Sunday. Oh my god, there is a live stream happening this Sunday, 10 a.m. Sunday the 24th, Sunday the 24th, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Yes, I will be reading the Communist Manifesto en français. Français à direct pour tout le monde. Alors, si tu veux regarder ça, c'est le dimanche du 24. Voila. Alright, y'all. I'm gonna get going, and I will see you in the next one. Alrighty, y'all. Bye.